To the second day of the 6th annual Big Data and AI Conference, co-located with the iCloud Expo and Cybersecurity Toronto. Today we're back for a full day of educational content, networking, demos, and a trade show experience. I'm Sonia Carreno, President of the Interactive Advertising Bureau of Canada, and it's my pleasure to introduce Leanne Gibson, who is the Director and Head of Industry Canada at Facebook. Leanne is known for being a passionate people leader, strong operator, and a partnership-focused executive. As a director and head of CPG, automotive, travel, e-com, and retail for Facebook Canada, Leanne is responsible for leading a consultative sales team, building strategic partnerships and digital innovation with partners. Leanne will be sharing a presentation on innovation in a new era of advertising, and then we're going to circle back with her for a bit of a fireside chat afterwards. Leanne, take it away.
Thank you, Sonia. And hello, everyone. As Sonia mentioned, I'm Leanne Gibson, and I am honored and excited for the chance to speak with you, especially during such a pivotal time in the world of e-commerce and the ads ecosystem at large. At this moment, we are in the thick of the next big shift in the industry, one that's made up of a confluence of many important changes. Let's start with the obvious. A migration to e-commerce that may have taken a decade exploded within a year due to the global pandemic. 81% of consumers say they've changed their shopping habits since the start of the pandemic, and 92% say they will continue this new behavior post-pandemic. Coupled with these new behaviors is a much grander shift. Consumers are more aware, engaged, and empowered than ever, leading to rising expectations for just about everything, including authenticity, social impact, flexibility, choice, control, and privacy. To fulfill these expectations, brands are being challenged to adapt and innovate faster than ever to continue offering optimal services to their audiences, including building customer-centric relationships focused on the causes, ideas, and creators that are most meaningful to their audiences. We really saw this happen over the last 18 months, and much of this innovation looks like it will have impact far beyond the pandemic. Many of my friends and family refer to these new habits that are here to stay as the COVID keepers. For example, Airbnb developed an offering called Online Experiences to help their hosts and their guests connect through virtual activities and classes. This has evolved into a long-term success story for them. Now, these changes represent a generational opportunity to innovate, but this will require brands to think differently about everything: marketing strategies, KPIs, media channels, creative measurement, and privacy, and approach them in much more modern ways. This kind of opportunity is why I got into this business and why I will stay in it. We are constantly learning and evolving. Because you are the ones who are going to build for the future, and this is the exciting conversation we're going to have today. You are the early adopters, you are the innovators, you are literally the tip of the spear. And we are right here with you, but the way you choose to meet these shifts is what will ultimately define the new standards of the industry. And it's incredibly exciting, career-defining work ahead of all of us. But of course, I'm not naive. There will be many challenges on the journey towards this new future, but I want to talk about one that continues to be top of mind for every partner that I engage with. As people's expectations shift towards more privacy and control, a combination of government, regulatory, and platform changes have created a challenging situation for companies that rely on performance marketing to drive business outcomes. This is a huge amount of change, and it's hard to manage. And it goes without saying that it's impacting your ability to reach people with the right message at the right time when they're most likely to be interested and leaned in. These changes have been particularly disruptive for small and medium-sized businesses who were already struggling through the pandemic. This is because personalized ads can help all businesses connect with the new customers around the world, a benefit that was once available only to big brands with big budgets. So I want to spend some time talking about this challenge and sharing how we're innovating to prepare advertisers for success far into the future. First, let's take a quick step back and understand where we at Facebook stand to really help you understand where we're going. As you are all aware, there is an active societal debate happening, saying that privacy and personalization are at odds. It's playing out across the news, in literature, even in movies. There is a loud chorus of public opinion that argues that personalized ads are invasive or spammy, that they use and extract value from people's data without giving anything in return. We at Facebook believe personalization brings value to people and that this can continue to be achieved along with protecting their privacy. We believe that personalization has huge value and it's everywhere around us. Netflix uses data, all the likes and dislikes of its 200 million plus subscribers to inform a predictive algorithm, an algorithm that updates about every 7 seconds as it figures out what I will be most likely to watch right now. It has become so powerful that over 80% of the content viewed on the platform comes from one of these personalized recommendations. Have you ever looked over the shoulder of a friend browsing their phone and thought, what is this crazy stuff I have absolutely no interested in? We sometimes forget how much of our experiences online are shaped by data and personalization. Personalization online helps create the massive amount of content available in the world that people couldn't possibly sort through themselves. I'm sure you've all had experiences where an unexpected but perfect item showed up via a personalized recommendation. I definitely have. For example, during the pandemic, I've become very invested in renovating my home. I continue to be invested in renovating my home. As I started to follow more home renovation content on Instagram, I also started to see more home decor and furniture recommendations. One of those brands was Article. Well, not a new brand. They were new to me and they had not been on my radar. And I started to see their brand and have since purchased several pieces of furniture from Article. Both my experience of serendipitous discovery and brands' experience of finding new audiences happens all the time. That kind of experience is exactly what your customers want, and it's the opposite of invasive or spammy. People are rightfully thinking about how their data is being collected and the ways that it's being used. We're adapting and want to help you adapt to the changing ads ecosystem. So we are rebuilding our systems and investing in a multi-year effort to build a portfolio of technologies that will limit the amount of personal information we process while still allowing us to show people relevant ads and measure ad effectiveness. These are called privacy-enhancing technologies. Some can protect a person's data by de-identifying it. This is done by removing what would identify a person and combining it with multiple other data points. In some situations, privacy-enhancing technologies can help ensure that personal data cannot be connected back to a person's account. And they can work together as a portfolio of solutions to address privacy concerns. We're exploring ways to combine multiple data points from different people so that no data point can be connected back with certainty to a specific individual. Here's how this comes to life. Facebook will use privacy-enhancing technologies to deliver and measure personalized ads. Work is being done across the ecosystem to enable a more privacy-centric approach to ads, including efforts like aggregated platform APIs and cross-platform measurement. But today, I want to talk about 3 specific technologies Facebook is investing in as foundations for our first-party solutions. The first is secure multi-party computation. We call it MPC. It allows 2 or more organizations, for example, Facebook and a brand, to work together without either party learning new information about individual people. Data is encrypted throughout the entire process while in transition, in storage, and in use so that neither party ever sees the other party's data. Today, this type of reporting requires at least one party to learn which specific people made a purchase after seeing an ad. Say one party has the information about who saw an ad and another party has information on who makes a purchase. With MPC combined with encryption, it is possible for both parties to learn insights about how the ads worked without the need to trust one party with seeing both sets of data. We've already started putting this technology to use. Last year, we began testing a solution called private lift measurement, which uses secure MPC to calculate aggregated campaign performance without sharing intelligible information about any single individual. While we expect private lift measurement to be available to all advertisers next year, in the meantime, we've open sourced our framework for private computation, so any developer can now create privacy-centric measurement products that use the same technology. Secondly, on-device learning. This can train an algorithm from insights processed right on your device without sending data, such as an item purchased or your email address, to a remote server or cloud. This technology could help us find new ways to show people relevant ads without needing to learn about specific actions individuals take on other apps and websites. Lastly, differential privacy. This is a technique that can be used on its own or applied to other privacy-enhancing technologies to help protect data from being re-identified. Differential privacy works by including carefully calculated noise to a data set. For example, if 118 people bought a product after clicking on an ad, a differentially private system would add or subtract a random amount from that number. So instead of 118, someone using that system would see a number like 120 or 114. Adding that small random bit of incorrect information makes it harder to know who exactly bought the product after clicking the ad, even if you have a lot of other data. As a result, this technology is often used with large data sets released for public research. Ensuring privacy throughout our apps while reducing the data we collect is a long-term effort. We'll share more details about our collaborative efforts in personalization using privacy-enhancing technologies as they continue to progress. I do want to make it clear, though, that no single technology will solve all use cases. It will take a spectrum of approaches, which is why we're investing in a spectrum of solutions. Privacy-enhancing technologies are not a quick fix. They're a long-term investment in the futures of the ads ecosystem. These changes will play out over multi-years and will give us the foundation to innovate into the future. I also want to make it clear that at Facebook, we are not deciding how these new technologies should be built on our own. We are investing in a multi-year effort with academics, global organizations, developers, and business partners like yourselves to help build solutions and best practices. But I know many of your businesses are feeling challenges now. So I want to share 5 specific actions you can take to help improve your marketing efforts in the weeks and months ahead. Creators are one of the most exciting aspects of our business at Facebook. Creators bring original, creative, and dedicated audiences to your campaign. This combination of content and authenticity is compelling for DR ads. We found in tests that creator ads are reaching a net new audience at scale. It's an opportunity you can act on now, and it's a great way to connect with previously inaccessible audiences. 72% of Gen Z shoppers get ideas on which products to shop from influencers and celebrities. And there are 2 emerging opportunities we see with creators. Facebook branded content enables a systematic and measurable approach to brand and creator partnerships. Branded content allows brands and creators to formally partner in exchange for value, ensures transparency in the partnership, and offers measurable results that can inform future partnerships. And secondly, innovative businesses are combining the authenticity of creators with the fun of live video. Live shopping on Facebook helps brands build new relationships with customers, answer questions about their product, and provide seamless shopping through shops. 55% of Gen Zs and 62% of millennials would buy directly through live videos where brands and creators launch new products. Creative has become one of the biggest opportunities you have to really drive performance. One thing we see time and time again is a brand finding one piece of creative that works, and everything that follows becomes an iteration of that one piece of creative. This can lead to saturation and prevents you from reaching entire audiences of potential new customers. So one of the first things you can do to improve performance with creative is simply to use a broader variety of assets and formats. We call this creative diversification, and have found this approach drives 32% better efficiency and can drive up to 9% incremental reach than the alternative. So here's what this can look like. Brands who effectively diversify their creative formats take a test and learn approach to quickly see what works and what doesn't. Try testing carousel, reels, stories, and live. Use a mix of assets, video and static images, so that you can connect with audiences with different viewing habits. Consumers are likely to build relationships with brands when they feel personally connected to them. To expand your customer base to new, untapped audiences, your creative should be a reflection of the audience you want to reach. You can feature diverse models and actors and test a variety of creative concepts that are likely to resonate with a new audience. Lastly, continuously optimize your creative to sustain performance. Consider how often creative needs to be refreshed, where new assets can be deployed, and how you can scale your highest performing creative. While shopping habits are evolving, consumers' expectation for frictionless experiences remain the same. Remember, when people discover your brand, they're on a mobile device. They had no intention of finding you at that moment in time. This serendipitous moment must be frictionless and optimized for delight. In fact, 79% of surveyed consumers who had trouble navigating a site or app abandoned their purchase as a result. Reducing that friction helps create better experiences for people and enables them to purchase. To reduce consumers' friction, businesses can do a number of things. With mobile being a critical channel for shopping, poor UX and long load times can leave a customer feeling frustrated with their purchase experience. Work to identify where your customers are dropping off within their purchase journeys and optimize the experience to boost conversion rates and sales. I've lost count of the number of advertisers I've worked with who have told me they feel confident about how they're doing here. Until we do a deep dive audit of their experience and call out at least 20 areas where they could seek improvement. With performance degradation by signal loss, customer experience is an area where many advertisers have an opportunity to win back everything they've lost and perhaps more. Stakes have never been higher to make every serendipitous moment of discovery count. Fast, informative checkout processes can also reduce the risk of abandoned shopping carts. Businesses that solve for checkout usability issues are seeing a 35% increase in conversion rate. Offer guest checkout to new customers, a simple login for returning customers, and a variety of payment methods to make purchases as easy as possible. For years, the goal of measurement has been to consolidate a single model or source of truth, and this holy grail at times is felt within reach, given the volume and granularity of data available. As the world grows more privacy first, it might be necessary to take exactly the opposite approach, embracing the tension between models rather than trying to reconcile. I've increasingly seen dear advertisers use mixed media models to give another angle of understanding performance across channels. Without a single data source of truth, the natural progression is for marketers to adopt a mix of measurement strategies. This also allows them to be more agile and uncover new opportunities rather than only entrenching incumbent channels and strategies. Finally, consumers want personalization, and delivering on this expectation requires a massive rethink across the board, including how our marketing teams are even structured. Some of us have a structure where teams operate distinct and separate from one another. Think of the acquisition team prospecting new customers and the separate retention team who focuses on remarketing. But platform and regulatory changes are requiring us to reevaluate these levers and pivot to ones we know will work, like connecting with creators, producing delightful creative, and improving end-to-end experiences. This pivot requires us to break down internal silos and reevaluate our strategies to continue maximizing performance. A connected marketing organization helps produce a connected strategy and provides the flexibility to adapt to change, setting up your organization to best help customers move seamlessly from discovery to loyalty. Lastly, last year, Allbirds leveraged a connected brand and performance marketing strategy to launch their new Dasher shoe, and they saw 48% lift in purchases across all creative concepts. To recap, here's a final look at all 5 of our recommendations. As I close out this presentation, I want to not lose sight of this. The work we are doing is good for both people and for businesses. Those serendipitous moments of discovery we engineer together every day where people are inspired to make a purchase or engage with your brand are meaningful and powerful. A chance encounter that happens in just a few seconds can turn into a long-term relationship. These relationships are delightful for the customer and positions businesses to thrive long-term. So together we have the power to build these new technologies, systems, and processes that work for both people and businesses. So thank you so much for your time today, and thank you in advance of all the hard work and innovation to help build our new ads ecosystem.
Well, thank you so much, Leanne. What an insightful presentation, and it's evident that Facebook is greatly invested in the topic, not only of privacy, but continues to innovate in all sorts of areas. I think we have time for just a short couple of questions, and you know, I think that maybe it makes sense to dig into the area of personalization. And you have discussed that personalization is a powerful way of connecting with consumers, and then it serves as a welcome discovery. I'm just wondering what the industry can do, you know, en masse to help drive the point into the mainstream. What are some of the talking points that we can all rally around across the positive aspects of and sort of bring the value proposition?
I think there's a couple things, but first of all, it's understanding the value that personalization brings. Like moving into a privacy first world, there is still an opportunity and value in personalization. And I think there's a job to be done for all of us in the industry to articulate and shine a light on that value. It's reminding people that our experiences are all shaped by data and personalization. If we think of the opportunity and the challenge that all the data in the world brings us, without that personalization, we're doing a lot of work ourselves, and we're never uncovering so many interesting opportunities for ourselves. We are creatures of habit. If I speak for myself, I am a creature of habit. And I go back to the Netflix example. And if everyone thinks about that Netflix example, that is personalization at its best. So I think we need to really clearly state the value of it and remind ourselves that as we continue to move in a privacy first world.
Yeah, I wonder if over the years, you know, as advertisers start getting, you know, better at putting value-add content and experiences together in front of consumers, that naturally the message will be kind of made clear to the consumer. So hopefully we're kind of in a place where advertising is getting so much better that it's actually becoming more accepted, and that the value proposition is becoming a little bit clearer to the consumer.
Absolutely.
And another area of interest, I guess, to our members, certainly at the Interactive Advertising Bureau, is that advertisers worry a great deal about the perceived limitations that may be placed on their abilities to communicate with audiences as we delve into the privacy era and the privacy issue. And so, how important do you think daily particulars to make
Sorry, Sonia, you just cut out there at the end. Could you repeat the question?
Yeah, sure. I know that there's a little bit of background noise going on. Not sure where that's coming from, but the question is around the advertisers making connections with consumers and the importance of creative when it comes to a privacy-first world. So as we get into a place where we're asking for consent and we're asking more of our relationship with the consumers online, how important of an emphasis do you think creative will have to the advertisers, to the brands in the future?
Oh, I think it's incredibly important for many reasons. I mean, it's a lever we control and can pull. And in my experience, and what I recommend is that test and learn approach, because there's an opportunity to drive performance. And how are you best driving performance? I think it's by testing new formats. We talk about creative diversification. You know, in our world, whether it's live, whether it's reels, whether it's stories, whether it's static images, test and learn, understand where you can drive more performance. And then it's also tapping into new audiences. If you're creating creative for the same audience, you know, we get back what we put out sometimes. If you think about the new audiences you want to target and build creative for those new audiences, it's going to be different creative. So I think there's a big canvas that we can continue to test and learn on, and it's going to drive performance for us.
Well, it's exciting times, Leanne, and I really appreciate not only your presentation, but all the work that's being done at Facebook to build that privacy-first approach. Because getting the message across to consumers writ large in Canada that the industry is taking privacy seriously and that we're taking a front seat here is of value to the entire ecosystem. So I want to thank you very much for your time today. And I look forward to seeing all of the innovations come to fruition at Facebook, and to see all the marketers evolving as the advertising industry evolves. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Sonia. Always a pleasure.